final two players in the tournament.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to TCH Live. How is everyone doing? My name is Derek. I'll be joined by Aaron from Austin, commentating over some great final table action tonight. How you doing, Aaron, tonight?
Doing great, doing great. Looking forward to this final table. And, man, $72,000 up top. Some massive payouts going to be coming at you here this evening. So stay tuned. Get ready. Lock yourselves in. Grab a beverage. We are ready to kick things off here in just a moment. So happy to be here with you, Derek.
Yeah, it's been an exciting day. I've been flooring the past weekend, so I got to see a lot of these players battled from day one all the way to day two, all the way to the final table. So I'll have a few stories to talk about, obviously, for some of these players. And for those of y'all that don't know, this was a mystery bounty tournament. So all the mystery bounties did come into play on day two. And for every player that a player did knock out, they got to draw from a basket of envelopes. And they range from $800 up to $20,000. And I can already tell you right now, 2 of our 20K bounty recipients are on this final table in seat 1 and seat 9. So congratulations to them. There are payouts right there. 9th place guaranteed $6,275. Of course, everyone with their eyes on that top prize, $72,050. We did end up having a total prize of about $581,000 and about, I want to say about $300,000 or so in bounty prize pool. What is up, everyone? Jedi Master Ted, Alice Acuna, Pokerski, Danny Chen, Doug R. What is up, everybody? Hope y'all having a great Sunday evening. It's very, very exciting here. Y'all might recognize seat 2, Harvey. He's actually commentated with me, and he's actually played on quite a few of our streams, Tuesday and Wednesday. Already 230 y'all in the live stream chat with us. Thank y'all so much for tuning in this wonderful Sunday evening.
Yeah, so standard operating procedure throughout this tournament, as with all mystery bounties, when you make it into the money, usually on day 2 of the tournament, such as this one, the bounties start getting paid out. You knock out a player, you get that mystery envelope, you get to crack it open and find out how much you've won. Do you have a little update here? As we got to the final 9 players, we did still have a 10K, a 5K, and several bounties around $2,000, a couple of $2,400, maybe $1,800 as well. All of those bounties were still going to be in play for these players here this evening, and we were looking forward to watching some people sweating it out, trying to pull the last few big ones. But the players did agree to chop up the remaining bounties between these 9 players, and so when a player is knocked out, we will not see that envelope get handed out. These players have already locked up their bounty dollars and are now just playing for those prizes that you saw on the screen just a moment ago.
Yeah, I think what it came out to, once it was evenly divided amongst the remaining 9 players, I think each one was guaranteed another about $2,600. So that's very good for the short stacks, where they might have felt like it was impossible for them to get a bounty. But I'm actually kind of surprised players like Kevin or Leon didn't say no. I mean, there's a lot of money up for grabs, like the 10K and 5K, like we mentioned. But obviously, these players are welcome to do whatever they like. We did do an anonymous vote as well for players that may not know what that is. I mean, I'm sure players have made it to the final table and have either felt pressured or almost even bullied to chop the final table. So the way we try to get around that, we did do an anonymous vote, so no player would know if there was a no. But all players did agree anonymously, and now they're playing for the prize money like Aaron stated.
Yeah, so still big discrepancy, or big disparity rather, between first and 9th. A little over $6,000 for our first player to be eliminated, $72,000 for our top prize winner here this evening. So yeah, a lot of ICM pressure here on these middling stacks, to be sure. As we saw there just a moment ago, 11 big blinds was the small stack going into this hand. 11 big blinds definitely going to be a tough stack size to play, but also isn't just like completely crippled and handcuffed into a spot where you're just going to be like all in before the next blind hits you. So I'm very curious to see how these middling stacks navigate. In particular, Brunner and Moritz in the 5 and 6 seat, sort of in the middle of the table here. They've got, 3rd place, 4th place chip stacks, and they don't really cover their opponents by very much, but are heavily covered by the 2 chip leaders. So you're really put in a tough situation in that orientation. We do have the chip leaders in the 3 and the 9 seat, with those middling stacks sort of sandwiched in between. So plenty of opportunities for those players to feel the pressure, especially if our friend in the 9 seat here is aware of the power that he wields with that dominating chip stack. Always something to look out for sure at these final tables is, does the player with the biggest stack wield it in a manner that is the most threatening to his middling strength opponents? Because you can really apply a ton of pressure there if you are aware of that. Harvey here under 20 blinds is going to come in for a min raise with King Queen off from early position. Definitely gonna be a little bit scared of what could be coming behind, but you definitely do need to stay active even when you are below 20 big blinds. It's not just shove it all in or fold. You can have some of these min raises on sub 20, even down to 15 and even down to as low as about 12 big blinds typically. As we can see here, Venkata on the button here. Pretty hand, but yeah, just not nearly enough chips to get involved with the chip leader in the big blind. Really no reason to come along, but Brandon here is going to take off a flop if he can find one for the low, low price of 500K.
Looks like Kevin will come along as well, our current tournament chip leader, with the mystery hand. Wow, deuce in the window. That is a great feeling when you have pocket deuces. Flopping a set, 72,000 up top. And you have to feel like, you know, Harvey probably connects with that ace a lot of the time, raising from early position.
Yeah, this is just a really tricky spot for Harvey. Like, he would love it if he could just bet like 600K here and have both of his opponents just fold super frequently. Yeah, he's going to go even smaller. He's going to go 350, which is also understandable. Like, just if he could just bet this tiny amount.
I guess there was a misread there.
Yeah, clearly a misread. And that was actually going to be my my next comment, was that because Kevin did not scan his cards, yeah, it throws a wrench in everything. Or perhaps maybe someone else didn't scan their cards up front and then everything got thrown out of whack. But you know, we do have a fresh batch of faces here. This isn't the usual Tuesday and Wednesday players that are, you know, very familiar with the technique of how to get the card scanned and everything. So I'm sure we'll have a few mysteries here at the beginning.
Oh.
Speaking of the Tuesday high stakes game, Mallory Poker here in the chat, who organizes that game, says there is a seat open for the winner of this game, the Tuesday high stakes game. So you know, whoever takes this one down, let's get them in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure trip deuces did not fold there, Doug. I think that was just a misread. I don't know how that got misread anyways, but
yeah, well, we've certainly seen this on the Austin stream before, where like if one person doesn't scan their cards, and then as soon as the action gets past them, before other people have scanned their cards, like if they just like snap fold or whatever, I don't know. It seems like it can sort of throw off what is being scanned by.
Oh, so Kevin could have had the set of deuces.
Potentially. I don't know all of the tricks of how that works, but I have seen things get screwed up before. But hopefully between the dealer, the production staff, the floor person, we can get everyone.
We do have our first all-in of the night here. Abraham with the ace-king, the classic tournament hand here. He's going to go all in for his last 10 big blinds. Mark Wee in the chat says LFG Leon. Absolutely, yeah. Leon, a regular 1-2 player here at TCH Dallas.
And Abraham here, a Texas poker tournament legend, has 2 banners hanging off of the rafters.
Wait, is that the Abraham from the banners at Choctaw?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh,
it is.
I didn't even know
that. If I am mistaken, then I do apologize to the real Abraham, but I am quite certain that is Abraham Araya right there, who has a couple of banners hanging off of those rafters.
So he is no stranger to the final table of big tournaments.
Indeed.
We have about 370 viewers right now, 14 minutes into our live stream. Welcome to TCH Live. This is the final 9 players of our 500K guaranteed mystery bounty. These players have been playing day 1 flights all week. They made day 2 for today, been playing all day since noon, and now we're to our final table. Here are the payouts right now. Each player guaranteed $6,275, top prize of $72,050. Looks like Moritz will open up the action with the ace-9 of spades.
Augie here with a pretty hand, but in the small blind and on this stack. I would definitely be letting this go, but I do understand the urge to take off a flop and see if you can connect. He is going to do so. Big blind folds, and with 1.5 million in the middle, it's up to a flop, ace high, 1 diamond.
Everyone in the chat says that is the Abraham that we were talking about with the banners.
Excellent. Ooh, spicy turn card here for Augie. Moritz goes for the check back here. Figures he's either just completely ahead and crushing his opponent's range or somehow behind. Happy to check it back. Augie leads out for 700, and yeah, Moritz here going to be happy to make the call. Stacked pot ratio, bang on 1.
Oh
and
my gosh.
Augie gets there. And this is devastating news for Moritz as he barely covers Augie.
Now he's going to really trying to go for value, trying to target a single ace here.
Pot size bet behind, but he's going to go for a smaller bet here. And I think this is going to work. I mean, this board has gotten super connected, but if you're Moritz and you check back the top pair on the flop, are you ever going to lay this down? Oh, it is 2 million. Yeah, he's going to make the call and find out that, man.
Wow, what a river card.
He just bets the flop. He wins the hand, but checking back. And that's the, I mean, that's the way that these runouts will come to bite you sometimes. You're just miles and miles ahead, right? Like if you look at the equity distribution on that flop, Moritz is like a 93% favorite to win the hand.
Right.
It has to come perfect.
Yeah, Augie had like 10%, yeah. With the backdoor diamonds, backdoor straight.
Yeah.
Pretty sick there, and that is a massive pot there for Augie, up now to 3rd place money in chips. Pretty devastating there for Moritz.
Yeah, absolutely. Still does have a little bit of life, has this hand and 1 more before the blinds are knocking on his doorstep. Now definitely going to be the shortest stack and put to the test. Everyone waiting for that player to get all their chips in the middle. And that's definitely the name of the game here with the ICM considerations. For anybody who is not familiar, ICM stands for Independent Chip Model. That's a formulation that was developed in order to sort of ascertain the value of individual chips in a tournament and to try to assign probabilities to individual chip stacks as to how likely they are to win the tournament at any given time.
Kevin, and our chip leader, is going to open the action with the Queen Jack. And Leon will fold the Ace-9 suited, I believe. Nice hand there for Kevin. Just to get a little background on some of our players here. We do have both of our 20K recipients on our final table. Seat 1, Augie, pulled the 20K bounty, and then seat 9, Kevin, pulled the last 20K bounty. Very exciting for them.
Yeah, it's got to feel so good. You go up there, you know the big one's still in the bin. You reach in, right? Your heart's pounding, and you just pull it out. Like, it's got to just feel like a dream come true. 20K for knocking out 1 player in a tournament. How awesome is that?
Lossing fought in the chat. So that's Let's Go Abraham, GL, GL, GL. For those who don't know, Law was our runner-up for our $1 million tournament we had about, I want to say about 2 years ago now.
Very familiar with Law. I've played with her in quite a few tournaments here around the state of Texas. Moritz here going to jam it from under the gun with a couple of 9s. Quick jam all in from the player to his left, Benkata with the Ace-King. And
wow, what a spot
Abraham,
here.
Oh, he does wake up with a real hand. Pocket 10s here. Would have to put himself at risk, but he realizes the 10s are just actually good enough to go for it. And we're going to go 3 ways all in. Benkata covering both Moritz and Abraham. Moritz is the shortest stack. So if an ace or a king comes and no 9 or 10 or some sort of funky straight/flush, comes out, Moritz would be eliminated first, followed by Abraham.
Yeah, Moritz the one at risk for the main pot, and Abraham also at risk because Venkata does cover both players. And wow, what a spot here for the ace-king. A possible two-person knockout here.
As we get
Alsakuna asking Derek, Aaron, what bounties are left? I missed it, and when you announced it. So there were a lot of big bounties left. Unfortunately, for the viewers, the players did actually decide to chop the remaining bounties. I believe there was one 10K, one 5K, one 1800, two 2400s, and then four 800s. Abraham currently in the lead right now. Big spot for him.
Yeah, and actually just going to be a massive favorite here, all things considered, with Moritz on the under pair. Substantial chunk of the equity is going to get distributed between Venkata and Abraham. So really basically just a coin flip between those two players. Moritz here is drawing 5 to a 9.
Oh, Happy Gilmore. We're Happy Gilmore. He always wants the.
Well, let's see it in live stream chat, guys. Who do y'all want for this pot here? I mean, this is life changing, or this is tournament changing. This is a tournament changing pot here.
Oh, you cover them? Yeah, I'm rooting for you then. Rooting for you.
Robin Newsom in the chat saying still in shock that that player in CD folded the set of twos. So we definitely had a misread on the cards there. So don't get
no way
too excited about that. That was unfortunately a misread. We'll do our best to avoid those in the future. Here we go, coming to a flop. Can the ace-king connect? Can the 9s connect? Or will Abraham and the 10s hold true?
Clean flop for the 10s.
To a 70% favorite now is Abraham. Jack of hearts.
We're going to remove some outs now. No ace or king of hearts. And wow, what a big pot here for Abraham. And I think that's going to be it for Moritz. Out in 9th place. GG's to Moritz, of course. Playing a great day 1, a great day 2. Unfortunately, came a little short on the final table, but still takes home a nice prize of $6,275. Now each player guaranteed $8,000. A lot of money to play for still. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and this should be a great final table.
You going blind? Oh yeah, because I mean next time you'd have to play that anyway.
Venkata now down to crumbs. Only
All
3
right,
big
yeah,
blinds left in his stack.
Sorry. Kristen chatting me up there. Yeah, Venkata here getting crippled after that hand. My goodness. What a spot.
And that's how you get 2 banners, holding in spots like that.
Yeah, that is really the biggest key to really making a deep run and then actually just winning a tournament. You've got to just like run good and hold, win your flips. You know, just like all the stuff that seems just kind of like, yeah, you know, you just want that stuff to happen. You know, you want it to be clean runouts and all that stuff. Man, to win a tournament, you've got to have some of that run good at the final table. That's for sure.
So it looks like Venkata will go all in for the remainder of his stack here. 650. Brandon going to make the call for 650. Looks like Kevin's going to come along for 650. Augie might come along as well. This could be a strangely multi-way pot. Leon with ace queen.
Let's try to. Just kidding.
You want last action? Shot on the button.
Honestly,
this jams here to isolate.
Spot for a squeeze. Yeah, when you've seen this sort of weak limping, or not limping, but flat calling play up front, like if somebody had
really
a real
caps the
hand,
range.
they would have raised to isolate. And Leon here with fantastic blockers and just an amazing hand.
I think this would be a real mistake here if he just calls.
He is just going to make that
Oh my gosh,
call.
what is going on here?
Everyone has a hand.
Alright, let's see a flop.
Is this a family pot?
Where are you at?
This is what you want.
Literally
Oh my
every
gosh.
player is in this. I
An
believe.
8-handed pot here. 4.4 million in the pot right here. I mean,
so he could like have a real stack if he wins this pot.
this would just be absolutely sick for Venkata if somehow he connects. There's 7. So current hand in the lead right now is the pocket 8s.
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Somehow we're seeing 1-2 no limit on our final table here.
I mean, so to be fair, there is a big incentive for these players to just sort of get in there for cheap if they can, because one player's all in. You know, if somebody knocks them out, then everybody makes money. The flip side of that, of course, is that you still want to accumulate chips, and we all know from the 1-2 table that, you know, if you go up against 7 opponents, it's very unlikely that your hand is going to win, even if you have something like ace-queen, ace-jack, pocket 8. So thinning the field very much going to be the preferred way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I personally in that spot might have jammed in Leon's spot, covering most of the opponents, knowing that the other big stack, Kevin, would probably raise the isolate since he is the other big stack at the table. So when he just calls, like we were saying, it definitely caps his range.
Absolutely.
Abraham will make the call as well. Can't blame him.
Yeah, and you don't even have to jam, right? Like, you really don't, because you still have the 2 players left to act.
Oh my gosh.
In the blinds. You can just raise to a few million, and it's going to put so much pressure on those players that they're all going to have to fold.
Yeah, he could have made it like 3 million. Brandon here going to find a 6 on the turn, going to take the lead here with the 6s full.
How much is that?
And ships it in for his remaining 2.6K or 2.6 million. Really didn't have that much left behind, so it was almost a little bit of a dangerous lead into that field with the pocket 6s. Gets rewarded on the turn, and Abraham now in a tough spot. He's like, God, everybody just like called. Does he have a 9? Does he just legit have a 9 here? But you can also just imagine if you add all of those chips to your stack, this tournament is yours to win. He does make the call, and is going to
Wow, this is a massive pot.
8 or a 9 on the end.
Do it.
Massive pot here. 6 is full. Currently in the lead right now. Abraham needs to find a 9 or an 8 on this river to knock out 2 players.
Venkata can actually still win if he hits a 7.
King of Hearts going to be safe for Brandon. Brandon going to win 7.2 million off that hand. And Venkata going to be eliminated in 8th place, taking home a nice prize. GG's in the chat for Venkata, taking home $8,000. Each player now guaranteed 5-figure scores, $10,200.
Good job.
Nice hand, buddy.
Nice play.
Yeah, the money jump's now getting to be pretty significant. Obviously, several $1,000s, nothing to sneeze at, but once we get up to, you know, 6th, 7th, or sorry, 6th and 5th place, the payouts really start to go up quickly, all the way up to that $72,000 up top. Massive spot there to turn the full house.
You say something, but I wasn't in the hands. Oh man,
I figured in a win spot like 6 ways, someone had to have a 9 there. Not win, but
6 good.
if you had pushed them.
Yeah.
So 30-minute levels here, 5 minutes left in this level, then we'll be going up to 150, 300K. Every blind jump to apply even more pressure to the middle and short stack, of course.
For those of y'all in the chat wondering about payouts, here they are. Each player now guaranteed $10,200. 6th place, $14,700. 5th place, $20,200. Then $28,000, $39,000, $53, and the top prize of $72,050. Back to the action here.
Who's that?
It's 250.
250?
Just the call.
That's the call.
Augie limping the low jack here. A little bit of an odd play, perhaps. But does flop
It's
top
always like
pair.
that, you know, one hand too late, you know what I'm saying?
Limping can be an effective strategy with very strong holdings, and in particular, you'll see some players in the very high stakes playing a limping strategy from the button in order to maximize their post-flop ability to have such a wide range. And so you'll sometimes see it in those orientations. Limping up front, of course, we've all seen the limp back raise from players with aces, ace, kings, and kings. But typically, you're going to want to raise a little bit just to try to take down the blinds and the ante if you can, without giving the big blind a free flop. But to each their own, everyone going to bring a different strategy to these final tables. Abraham here just going to fold the king 10. Doesn't want to raise into the big stacks in the big and small blind. That's going to be a walk for Kevin. We look at the chip stacks there. Kevin with the biggest stack, 73 big blinds. A couple of stacks north of 30 big blinds. And then Abraham and Harvey sub 20 big blind stacks.
I try to put myself in your situation, man. I'll be laughing inside. I'm like, oh.
For those of y'all curious, this was an $800 buy-in. We had day one flights all week last week, Monday through Saturday, up until yesterday night. And then day one started this afternoon at noon. And these players have been playing since then, slowly climbing the pay jumps until we're down to our final 9. Now we're down to our final 7 players. Had over 1,160 entrants into this tournament, so really great prize pool, really great event Eugene did put for us here at TCH Dallas. And with all the entries, we were actually having a minimum bounty of $800, which is great for an $800 tournament. I mean, not many tournaments where you can get your entire buy-in back for just knocking out one player.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see somewhere between half, like 50% of a buy-in, up to like 75, 80% of a buy-in. But yeah, I do always like it when they do a full buy-in as a bounty.
It just feels nice, right? It's like, oh, I'm in this turn for 3 bullets. I got 3 bounties, and I'm just completely free rolling.
Oh, who button is that?
He's the button, he's first up.
So limped pot pre-flop checks through. Jack of diamonds now on the turn. Second pair for Leon, and 2 players with a flush draw here between Kevin and Augie. Kevin going to lead out here. I like this bet. When it checks through on the flop, you are going to have all of the best hands to start betting now on the turn. And mixing in some flush draws going to be a very nice move. Augie makes the call in between, and now Leon has to wonder if his jack is any good. I do think, though, that when you turn a hand as strong as second pair like this, after checking through on the flop, that continue is in order. Leon agrees, makes the call. Here we go, off to a river. It is not a diamond, just a 7, pairing Augie. But an inferior hand to Leon. Kevin will continue betting here. 1.6 million into 2 players with 9 high.
Definitely a ambitious play here from Kevin. And Augie here is not wanting to fold his pair, it looks like.
Yeah, 1.6 million into 2.8, so a 2/3 size here. This is definitely saying to his opponents, like, I have good value, Somebody want to call me? But it's going to be a good chunk of your chips. Augie really doesn't want to let this go, having improved to just the 7. Wow, if he makes this call, it could actually be really tough for Leon to make the call. Yeah, he's going to fold, and the 7 is going to win. Wow.
Wow, what a call there from Augie, getting the better hand to fold.
Yeah.
What a pot, too.
That is strange. So you'll see this sort of stuff in these limped pots because no one has defined their range as having aces and kings and queens and all that good stuff in it, right? Where you just have a natural c-bet. Like, let's say that Leon had opened, you know, it just goes check, check to him. He c-bets, everybody's whiffed, so they just fold, and he takes it down. Instead, with the limp pot, it's just this completely undefined ranges that are all over the place, and the pair of 7 manages to take down the pot there on the end. Wow, pretty amazing.
Bryce Richmond in the chat. One of our tournament floors says, great tourney, guys. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate all the hard work you did, Bryce, for all of our tournament players. And yes, for those curious, this is the final table of our 500K guaranteed mystery bounty. My name is Derek. I'm one of the commentators here at TCH Dallas. And I'm joined by one of the commentators from Austin, Aaron McAvoy. How you doing, Aaron?
Doing great, man. Fantastic tournament here. Wish I could have been up there to play it, but just didn't quite fit in with my schedule. So happy to be here calling the final table here with you tonight, Derek. And Leon is going to open for a raise this time around with red jacks and no takers, so he'll win this one uncontested. But yeah, after 13 hands, we've got 2 eliminations, and chips have moved around. That is for sure.
Yes, no shortage of action here on our final table.
Me and him have been calling each other all night.
Chase Bricker in the chat says Derek is the GOAT commentator. Thank you so much, Chase. Those of you that don't know, Chase was our Mystery Bounty Tournament winner from last October.
Try to steal his move, didn't work.
Yeah. He did fire trying to make the day 2 here, but you know, as everyone knows, tournaments are very, very difficult to make title defenses in.
That is for sure.
Appreciate the kind words, Chase. Kevin here catches some hands, pocket 10s. You know, like on quite a larger sizing here, 800K.
Yeah, saw it open earlier to 700, now to 800. Leon, though, waking up with the ace-queen off in the big blind. 2 of the larger stacks at the table.
800?
800,000 is the bet,
18? 18?
1.8 is what you're trying to get. 1.8?
Since it's not 1,000, this is... Yeah, that definitely could have been construed in a couple of different ways, but since 18 million didn't really make sense, you know, we're going to go with the 1.8. Pretty standard to raise to 1,800 when that's the usual configuration. Does get called by Kevin with the pocket 10s, comes clean for Kevin in those 10s. Leon, though, going to continue betting, and chunky size here goes half pot, 2 million. Really not leaving himself many chips behind at all. And again, was one of the larger chip stacks going into this hand, so was just blasting chips in here as Leon.
Really setting up a turn jam.
And for barely over half pot, really.
Wow.
Another pair on board.
See what Leon decides to do here. Only with the half pot bet left. Does he just want to blast off here with ace high? Okay, we will check.
Kevin instantly recognizing that his hand is best. That Leon is going to be forced to commit the rest of his chips with any of his strong holdings. Aces, kings, queens, you can't just give your opponent a 6 or a deuce in a 3-bet pot at this final table. So going to be shipping those hands in, and Leon checks it over. It's basically just a wave of the white flag, and Cabin will be happy to just take the pot down now. Jedi Master Ted says 1,800,000. Exactly. That's what he meant. Yeah, this feels like a tough spot if you're Leon, right? Like, you're playing the 2-pair on board with the ace. It would be just sort of nightmarish if your opponent had a similar hand and you're both just playing the ace high and he pushes you off the chop, but are you really ever good there?
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it at all calling the chop, especially with Abraham and Harvey with shorter stacks. I mean, you're looking at about several thousand, maybe even more in pay jumps if they get eliminated before you. So great fold there from Leon.
Yeah, and that's the tricky nature of these final tables. When you have that middling chip stack, right? Because Leon went into the hand around 9 million, and he was somewhere in like basically tied for like 3rd, 4th, 5th, like all those players sort of sitting on a similar stack size. You really are disincentivized to play hands against the chip leader, especially out of position, when you can just sort of hang back and wait for these shorter stacks to get eaten up by the blinds. This is something that certainly comes with experience, something that you kind of have to either study or just get out there and play. And of course, making final tables is tough. So it's challenging for people to have a lot of experience in these positions. But yeah, really just an unfortunate situation there for Leon, and see if he can turn things around.
Yeah, it's kind of an oxymoron, right? Where you're like, well, what's the best way to get better at final tables? Making final tables.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, how hard is it to make final tables? Oh, very hard.
Yeah, really, really, really hard.
Augie gonna outflop Bruner here. Bruner with the range advantage here. Augie definitely with a hand that's going to have a difficult time calling multiple streets. So I'm going to be interested to see what Bruner does if he does pick up equity on the turn here. Maybe like a queen of clubs would be ideal for him, right? 10 of clubs. Wow, just a snap fold from Augie. Wow, and that's huge for Bruner to get second pair to fold like that.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I don't want to harp on this stuff too much, but calling, you know, with the king 8 suited there, like, I can understand the appeal, but if you're gonna flop second pair and then just fold it to a single bet, I mean, it's like, what are you kind of hoping for, you know? Flopping a flush or trips or something? I mean, that's just not gonna happen very often.
Yeah, just giving a lot of credit to Bruner. And obviously these players have been playing a lot, you know, all day. So there might be some, you know, things that we're not aware about, right? Like, he might just consider Bruner a very, very tight, solid player, and just he's never betting that flop without an ace. But
yeah,
those are things that we can't really quantify just because these players have been playing all day.
That's true. Yeah, and I mean, I certainly am only going to approach these spots, or can only approach these spots with the experience that I have, but everyone's going to bring their own experience to the table and play in their own way. Just do my best to enjoy this fine action with all of y'all. As Brandon going to raise us up 700K with King Queen suited. Leon going to make the call on the button. That'll bring our pot up to over 2.5 million. Stacked pot ratio at about 1.5. So Leon going to need to connect. Brunner is in here as well, and my goodness, would you look at that flop.
I don't think you can hope for much more when you call in with 3 deuce suited there.
Absolutely. And Leon, 3 to a straight flush, 4 to a flush, 1 overcard. Going to bet 1 million, leaving himself 2.7 behind.
When you do flop bottom 2 pair, I tend to like the fast play then, so I imagine Bruner will go for the raise here. Wow. Like this play a lot, and this is kind of going to commit Leon here. I mean, he does have one over and a flush draw. I think that's plenty to get the rest of the money in here.
Yeah. 3 deuce goes for the raise. Leon puts the chips in, and here we go. 75% favorite is Brunner. Got to fade a club on 2 remaining cards.
King of club.
King of spades, not king of clubs, but does bring additional outs.
King of club. 10.
10, no good. One
And that's
pair
going to
for
be Leon eliminated in, I believe, 7th place. Congratulations to Leon. GG's in the chat for him, but nice pot there for Brunner.
Wait, is there a misread? No, Brunner. Oh, Brunner's pushing his chips forward to have them count it down to make sure he has them covered. I was like, why is he pushing the chips forward and like reaching for his?
Yeah, he should have him covered. So Leon going to be eliminated in 7th place, taking home $10,200. Each player now guaranteed $14,700. GG's in the chat for Leon. Great score for him. Really doesn't play tournaments that often, so he should be very happy with his score. And look at Harvey. Harvey just sitting there with his short stack, laddering up.
Yeah.
Down to our final 6 players now.
Yeah, that is the name of the game, and survival in tournaments is key, especially in these spots. And that's why even on like 10 big blinds, you don't just have to shove it all in. You don't have to just put yourself at risk like that.
He got his king.
You know, you can still open, maybe even limp your buttons, things like that, and fold if you face aggression. Give yourself a chance to survive.
General Lifestyle asking, what was the buy-in? This was an $800 buy-in.
Harvey here on the short stack. Onus is on him to build the stack or be eliminated. 10-9 off, though, just not a very inspiring hand. He is going to go with it, though.
Oh, and just runs into it.
Immediately does run into it. You see the little look on his face there of like, oops, shouldn't have done it.
Poor timing there for Harvey. Does have live cards, though. Any 10, any 9. Will give him the best hand. But obviously Ace-King still the best hand right now. Let's see if Harvey can hit.
Yeah, clubs working, hearts are covered. But yeah, would really just love to find a pair.
Oh, and there's a 10 in the window, but there is a sweat. Any ace, any king, any queen. Oh, man. Heartbreaking.
I need a 10 or a 9 here to retake the lead and survive, and it will not be. Harvey eliminated. 6th place.
Congratulations to Harvey taking home 6th place money for about $14,700, I believe. Each player now guaranteed $20,000. How about that? Each person now guaranteed our top bounty amount.
Tony Wen here in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Wants to know if any big bounties are left to play. Well, there were. Coming into the final table, a 10K, a 5K, and several 2400s. But the players agreed to chop all the remaining bounties between the 9 players that made the final table. So there are no bounties left up for grabs. That money has been divvied up already.
Yeah, definitely me and Tyler were definitely disappointed because we were keeping track. We both worked today as floors. And we were keeping track of how many bounties were left. And as we got closer and closer to the final table, we noticed that there was one 10K, one 5K, one 1800, several 2400s, and then the remaining 800s. And we were like, wow, this would be a great final table. Then right when we got to 9, they all agreed to chop. So a little anticlimactic there, but of course, GG's in the chat for Harvey. Thank you all so much for participating in the live stream chat. I'm sure it won't be the last we see of Harvey. Of course, he plays on our Tuesday and Wednesday streams quite often. And this isn't his first time on our final table for a tournament. I think he's made the Saturday tournament final table a few times. Sabino in the chat asking, where is this at? This is live from Dallas, Texas, located in our TCH Dallas location. We have card rooms all over Texas. in all their major cities: Austin, Houston, the Rio Grande Valley, and Dallas. And this is live from our Dallas location. Down to our final 5 players now.
Yeah.
And pay ups are starting to get serious. Each player guaranteed 20,200. The 2 players that drew the 20K mystery bounties are still in this tournament. Augie and Kevin actually heads up right now.
Me and you can't be collateral damage. Yeah. They were getting us, you know?
Kevin raising pre-flop when it folded to him. Flops a gut shot and an overcard. Doesn't bet and doesn't continue.
You got 2 in a row on him now. He's getting you all day.
All right.
Yeah.
Matthew in the chat, when did that end up for the chop bounty? So I think each player got an additional 2,600. I think that's what it came out to be. I think there was about 22 or 23,000 in bounties left. So I think when they divided it evenly, I think it was around 2,600.
Yeah. He's going to do it now. Boom.
He bluffed last time, so he thinks I'm going to bluff this time, so I can't bluff.
Johnny High Roller, actually our winner of our $1 million tournament way back when, says new Dallas location when? Hopefully in the next few months. I've actually been there in person, and it's looking very, very nice. I think we're just waiting on a few inspections and whatnot, but should be in the next few months. Thank you all so much for asking all these questions in the live stream chat. Keep them coming. Love them. You have a pretty interesting flop here.
Very interesting. And it goes check, check. Bingo on the turn for Augie. Makes the flush with the straight flush redraw. Abraham here flopping open-ended. Now turning a 6-high flush draw. He'll make the call.
Just be disastrous if a 3 comes here. Fortunately for Abraham, he does not hit the straight. Augie just continuing his run good.
Glad I didn't go crazy. I had a straight
Happy
draw.
to turn that one over, show his opponents that he just
I didn't hit it. He hit it.
the effective nuts. Abraham here chipping down slightly, 16 big blinds and the short stack. Everyone covering him by just about double or more, so definitely going to be the player everyone is waiting to see get all their chips in. And this is really the moment of the tournament. Like certainly 9-handed, you can apply a lot of pressure as the big stack, but because there are going to be several, short stacks out there, you can't just like be raising willy-nilly because any one of those short stacks rips it in, and then you're like, oh well, I was kind of just hoping to get the blinds with my 10-6 suited. And you're going to have to fold a little bit too much. Once you get down to this like 5-handed, 4-handed type situation, you can really apply a ton of pressure because the ranges are just going to be so wide all the time because there's just only 5 hands in play. So you could just raise and raise and raise and raise and just sort of run people over if you're willing to apply the aggression. So far, Augie here just waking up his hand, so he's just winning,
2 hours
winning,
later, I
winning.
gotta go pee, man.
Gavin has not had much opportunity to even get in there.
For those of y'all curious, I did put the address for our new location located in Las Vegas.
He's doing it right now.
For those of y'all
Good
in
man.
the area.
Good man.
It's in quite a nice location. A lot of restaurants nearby. I could definitely pull that location up on Google Maps just so y'all can take a look.
I'm here for the entertainment.
Kevin here, Jack 10 off
It's a raise.
is just going to limp.
It is a call.
That's true, man.
What happened? That's just a call?
Yeah. That's my bad.
It's more confusing.
Forgot to announce it.
For all our viewers in the chat, the chip denominations are as follows. The purple and green chips are worth 25K. The red and white candy canes, as I like to call them, are worth 100K, and those green chips are worth 500,000.
Check. Check. Check.
955 flop checks through. Deuce of spades now on the turn. Abraham here, yeah, it's like,
600,000.
I mean, why not just bet at this and take these free chips? Nobody wants them.
I was thrown off when like you.
We'll be betting out
I
with
was,
the
like,
best
already
hand,
ready to throw
actually,
it in,
and
and
take
he
it
just
down.
went, I'm like, oh.
Matthew with an interesting question in the chat.
Okay.
If you're going to move to a city, if you're going to move to Texas, what city we should select first? Well, I'm a little biased, of course. I'd say Dallas. I'm sure Aaron would say Austin.
Oh, absolutely not. No, I think Goldthwaite. I mean, you know, there are so many cities you can pick before Austin. We're doing just fine here. We don't need any more people. I'm kidding, of course, but that is the sort of the local thing where, you know, it's gotten very congested here. I know Dallas has been a big city for a long time.
Yeah.
And so you guys have the infrastructure already built up. I mean, traffic, of course, is still god awful there during rush hour. But
I lived in Austin for 4 years. Austin is still so much worse. It's just I can't explain it. Just you'll be driving at like you know, just a random day, right? And then out of nowhere you'll be in traffic for 2 hours. It's just like that doesn't happen as often, I feel like, in Dallas. But like there's still bad traffic, but you expect it, and there's like frequency. Like, or there's times that you can expect it too. In Austin, it just comes out of nowhere sometimes, where like in times you don't expect.
Absolutely right. Bart Bogart joining us here in the chat. I'm not sure if you think that I'm Eugene, but no, this is Aaron McAvoy. That's the Nick Schulman vibes you're getting here, brother. Who else in the booth here with Derek tonight?
Yeah, it's actually going to be Aaron and me, not Eugene. But I was actually going to get Eugene in here just to talk about the tournament when he does have some time. But I'll bring him here shortly. Bart Bogart, a regular tournament player here in the Dallas area, and of course around the country. I'm sure you know him too, Aaron.
I surely do, which is why I was sort of joshing him a little.
Jesus in the chat, being a member in one location, does that grant you access to all TCH locations or no? So originally it didn't, but with all of our locations, you know, kind of course, being in Texas, I think we are working on a process for that. I know for a fact, if you are a member of the TCH Dallas location, that will give you access to the TCH Las Colinas. It's going to be called TCH Social, actually. Great questions in the chat. Thank you so much. Christopher Lee asking, which city has the best poker, though? Of course, me being a little biased, I'm going to say Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, certainly the poker in Dallas is just absolutely off the hook. Austin has great poker, but yeah, there's just really nothing to be said between the two. Kevin here turning the top pair, best hand the whole way, and Brandon here pretty much on a hero call only, and for a chunky size here, 3/4 pot on the end with just the king high. He'll let this go.
Yeah, so there were some stipulations in the name of our card room to be able to open in Las Colinas. I think naming it TCH Social instead of TCH or Texas Card House was part of the stipulation there. For those who are wondering.
Interesting.
You donated a little bit?
Yeah.
Played on Thursday.
Yep, absolutely right, Ivan. Yeah, there's a great restaurant there. The Ranch was a Brazilian steakhouse. And there's like a Starbucks very close to there. So, I mean, it's kind of like very poker friendly in terms of food and drinks. And of course, the our location at TCH Social will have a full bar and full restaurant.
You know what? I did 2 solidifies.
Nice.
I did the first one, I got in, and I said, okay, I'll try the second one again.
See if you can build a bigger stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mark, obviously a very regular player here, knows all the in and outs of our room. Yeah, so the memberships will be transferable through all locations, but the only rooms that are going to have transferable hours are the TCH Dallas and the Las Colinas Club rooms, just because of the proximity.
Our first min raise here this evening coming in from Brandon, and honestly, I think this should be the norm, but
I'm over.
All in.
Abraham is going to stuff it in his face, raising all in.
First 10
Brandon
minutes
quickly
I got
folds.
knocked out.
Oh yeah.
Big jam
Stood
there
I was
from
walking
Abraham,
out
all
of the
things
exit, and I
considered.
was like, you know what? I'll just rebuy one time.
Yeah.
Of course, those two players are the shortest
Yeah.
stack, so
Yesterday I
sense.
only brought one buy-in because I figured there'd be so many alternates, and I got knocked out in like an hour. I'm like, all right, I'll hit the ATM and run it one more
Oh,
time.
you did nice. It's a,
Yeah.
it's a tour.
Yeah.
Listening to what Bruner is saying there in the 6th seat, saying that he only planned on doing one entry yesterday, got knocked out very, very early on, and was like, well, I'm here anyways, gonna hit that ATM, pay that extra 2% fee. And look at this, he's on the final table now. So sometimes,
Nice.
you know, you just gotta, you know, buck up and rebuy, and you might just end up on the final table.
absolutely right. Definitely had one of those experiences myself, or a couple, of course, but the most memorable one was in New Orleans, playing at the WSOP stop there at Harrah's, and playing one of the bigger buy-ins that I'd ever played at that point. It was a $2,200 tournament. Busted twice pretty early on, ran into some nasty spots, bluffed off my chips in one, and in the other just got coolered, and was just a little bit shook and like, oh man, I just dusted off like a lot of money for me. Did end up just like going outside, getting some fresh air, and decide, you know what, I'm going to go back in there and fire one more time. Ran it all the way up to 3rd place, so it can happen.
I can imagine a lot of us can have test a similar experience where, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I really only plan on one bullet. Look at this, Bruner continuing the aggression on the turn, and a raise from Kevin with the top pair, top kicker. We'll take down another big pot, and just extending his chip lead here. Again, Kevin, one of our 20K bounty mystery winners tonight. There was 2 total 20K bounties. Augie and him were the ones that pulled it, and both the chip leaders, so they're having quite the night.
Lego says he can hear you just fine, can't hear the other commentator, so I moved my mic a little bit closer to my mouth. Hopefully that is better. Please do let me know in the chat, and of course we always do appreciate your guys' feedback, so thank you for that.
Yeah, Ryan Frederick in the chat asking, when is TCH social scheduled to open? Yeah, again, I feel like half the questions get answered in the chat anyways, because all of you are so knowledgeable. Yeah, most likely after the cruise, if anything. I mean, definitely going to be after the cruise. And everything else is dependent on inspections and, you know, everything else going smoothly. But I can guarantee you 100% without a doubt, it will be this year. It's like when I was flooring today, and everyone was like, "Oh, what's going to be in the bounty when you pull it?" And I told everyone, I guarantee you it's going to be at least 800. I can promise.
All right, we've got an all-in and a call here. Pocket Kings versus, I think that was Ace Queen, unless we had a graphical error, but we do have an all-in and a call. Brandon here, one of the short stacks at risk. It is the Ace Queen, and he is going to need to connect here, or Kevin will chip up even further.
Wow, this is a big pot here.
Brandon home in 5th. Can he find an ace or some other way to win this hand? Clean flop with the king of spades in hand. Not many outs here for Brandon. And that is going to seal the deal. Brandon going home in 5th place. Flush for Kevin. Going to send his opponent to the rail.
What a night for Kevin.
Yeah, great payday here nonetheless. Well played, Brandon. Good job making it this far.
GG's in the chat for Brandon. Played a great tournament today. A great final table, of course. Taking home 5th place money, $20,200. Every player now guaranteed $28,000. Of course, everyone on their eyes on that top prize of $72,050. And of course, we have a lot of people in the live stream chat that really enjoy tournament poker, of course. But every week, we also stream live cash games. And if you're interested in playing in any of our cash games here at TCH Dallas, you can contact Mallory at that phone number or that email, or you can even use that QR code. But there's a picture of her. If you even just see her in our room, you can talk to her about playing on any of our live streams on Tuesday or Wednesday. So just let us know. Back in the action here. Augie waking up the ace 8-7. I'm just going to let it go. Never mind.
Actually gonna limp.
Me and you
here.
again.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Good hand?
And you're
Oh
the
wait,
chip
we've
leader.
got a limp from Kevin
Check
here.
dark. Check dark.
Augie checking. Spicy flop here. Kevin, bottom pair and a flush draw. Checks dark. Augie bets with his pair of eights.
Inducing action.
Check.
Kevin, once again, he calls and checks
Yeah,
dark.
I'll check.
Check. Check.
Both of these
Another
players
eight
just running
here.
amazing.
Yeah, trips for Augie. Bets $1 million for 2/3 pot. And after Augie checks back the turn, I mean, gosh, you might even think your 3 could be good on occasion, but has Augie really gotten out of line very often is the question you have to ask yourself. Thinks it's possible, makes the call, and Augie just continues running hot, chips another one.
I was like, I bet he's gonna call. I bet he's gonna call. I bet he's gonna call. I bet he's gonna
It's
call.
only 2 little green chips in that stack.
How are you guys? What?
Good hand. Good hand. Now I can be you.
Nice in there for Augie.
So now I can be you.
Having still with the massive chip lead of 28 million.
Blinds going up 200, 400, 400. Abraham's 6 million chip stack going down to 16 big blinds. Bruner at 23 big blinds, holding on to the 3rd position there.
Down to our final 4 players now. We've got 800 of y'all in the live stream chat right now. Thank y'all so much for tuning in this Sunday evening. Y'all listen to the voices of Derek and Aaron
You again?
tonight. These players have been playing all week from our day ones, all day since noon.
Oh, you want to
And
make
now
all
we're
your
down
money
to our
back?
final 4.
You want to make all your money back,
Yeah,
eh?
refund.
No, I ain't giving it. You can have it.
Story of the day so far really has been Kevin and Augie ever since they both pulled their 20K mystery bounties.
I don't care if it was good.
They've been playing great poker, obviously having some luck drawing the big bounties as well.
Here too, 'cause there's some space.
Yeah.
I don't know if
I mean, when you come into the final table already with 4th place money locked up, that's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Mark Toulouse in the live stream chat says, "Hey guys, I've been listening on my drive back from Tulsa. Great job and go Abraham." Mark, I imagine, took the trip up to Tulsa for the World Series Poker Circuit events. I talked to him, I know, a few weeks ago. I know he was really upset that he couldn't play this event because of the conflicting events. But I'm sure he'll be around for the next big one here at TCH Dallas. We typically hold 500Ks or bigger once a quarter. So we'll typically have about 4 of those events every year. Russell Rogers, how much was the buy-in? $800 buy-in.
10 high.
A lot of checking here, and yeah, neither player with 10 high going to take a stab at this to try to win it and get Jack or King high to fold, anything of that nature. Augie's just going to win with the 10-8 playing. Ashley Hine hanging out in the chat. What's going on? Are my arms still hurting from my prop bet with the queen? No, the arm's actually feeling great, but had I lost our last wager, would have had to do 50 push-ups. I definitely would be feeling that.
Yeah,
and yes, I'm a little bit of a gangster when it comes to drinking the broth bombs. So
yeah, no,
can handle this.
I watched that video and I was like, oh my god, this is pure chicken broth.
Yeah, chicken broth and tequila, man. It's you should try it.
I mean, I guess the the electrolytes and sodium and protein counteract the alcohol, right?
Yeah, totally, something like that. Yeah, no, it's no, it's actually just completely awful. But you know what? It's the price you pay for a good prop bet.
Obviously, Kevin with the chip lead right now, but still anyone's tournament here. We've seen multiple times on our final tables the shortest stack coming back and just taking down the whole thing. So don't count anyone out just yet. And for those, I mean, I'm actually just curious right now. For those of y'all in the live stream chat, let us know who you are rooting for. Are you rooting for Augie, Abraham, Bruner, or Kevin? Let us know in the live stream chat, please.
cautiously from the small blind. I think this is the smart play. The limp fold with the jack-8 off makes a ton of sense. You'd love to see a flop if you could, but if you get raised by the chip leader, just ditch it. And of these players, I'd say that Bruner has sort of shown perhaps the, you know, the more tentative play here, just really kind of staying out of the way, picking his spots a little bit better. Maybe not better the right word, but a little bit more cautiously.
He's being more selective, yeah.
Yeah, which is really the sharp thing to do. Getting involved in too many hands, especially out of position, is just really going to take its toll on you from an ICM standpoint. Abraham here, though, going to limp with the pocket aces, inviting Cavan in from the small blind. We're going to go 3 ways to a flop.
As if on cue, with Ashley being the first one to cheer for Abraham. Abraham does get aces here. Decided to slow play, but not going to get any action from these two players. Let's see in the live stream chat. We've got Ashley Hine cheering for Abraham, Killer Demo cheering for Bruner, JD cheering for Augie, Jesus cheering for Cavan. Joel F saying Augie because he bluffed King Queen all in into my quad aces a couple months ago.
Bruner here, King 5 off, definitely just off muck. Cavan on the big stack. Love to see this. Big chunky raises too, not opting for the min raise or even just barely over a min raise. Putting maximum pressure on, but also putting himself in a position where he loses more chips when his opponent goes all in, as Abraham does.
Definitely the play I expected from Abraham. And he will get the fold. And before we move on to the next hand here, we do have Eugene, our tournament director here, joining me for a little bit to talk about our tournament.
Hey, thanks for having me. Sorry, got kind of busy there.
No,
right
I
there.
understand.
Wanted
There's
to try
things
to
to
make
do.
it in. What a great event so far. I mean, and the final table, me and Donovan were just talking about just what a great final table that we had. You know, we had some exciting players.
Yeah.
We had some very learned players that kind of know what they're doing, and you know, all these guys know what they're doing. They wouldn't be here if they didn't. But just super excited to have these guys on the final table, and very proud to. You know, it's tough. You know, 1,163 runners, and then be the final 9 after all that. Wow.
And now we're down to our final 4.
Down to the final 4. So I mean, this is just amazing. You know.
And
Mr.
hats
Augustine.
off to you, Eugene, as well, and all of the tournament staff, the dealers, the floor staff, for putting on such a fantastic event as well. You guys really brought your game to this.
Yeah, absolutely. For any of our fellow staff members that are watching right now, shout out to y'all. The dealers, the waitresses, the hostesses, the chip runners, the cage, of course, the players, the dealers.
I tell people all the time. That, you know, where they say, "Oh, great job," you know, it could not have be this smooth without every spoke in the wheel doing their job, doing what they're trained to do. And we have a lot of experienced staff here. I'm just very thankful and proud to be able to be a part of this team, and they make me look really good.
Yeah, it was a great event, and I'm sure a lot of our players are going to be excited for the next big tournament that we're going to have here at TCH Dallas.
I hear all the time, you know, when we're going to do another one of these, when we're going to do another big tournament, and it just goes to show just what a great tournament community we have here. You know, the players are fantastic, the staff is great. You know, it's just been really been a blessing. So it's been a lot of fun. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to come
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and say
no
a
problem.
couple words
Yeah,
to everybody.
if there's anything else you want to say, here's your chance. But otherwise, thank you again to Eugene. And let's see some love for Eugene in the live stream chat. Hosting a great tournament here at TCH Dallas. Thank you so much, Eugene.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate
and
it.
Thanks for everybody coming out and playing.
Raise.
All right, now let's get back in the action here. It looks like Gavin does have a big hand here.
Right? 900
I wish I
million.
had that money.
900,000.
Bruno going to open the action with the King 4 suited. Kevin to make the call with the Ace 5. I'll get to come along as well. This is a massive pot. SPR less than, or close to 2 right now.
Bruner here going big, basically committing himself to this one and telling his opponents, like, listen, if y'all have some sort of just one pair holding or whatever, it's time to just let that go. This is my pot. And he's going to show the 4, followed by the king.
Oh my god. King 4? Good bet.
I only show because I want you to think I'm playing loose.
Augie here chipping down just a little bit, still in second place, but if he were to double up Abraham or Bruner, he would be on life support, so his third position not
I might have called.
very secure. That's one of the things that you really have to keep an eye on is your stack relative to your opponents. It doesn't mean that much if you're in second place out of 4 if the third and fourth place guys are hot on your heels. Or if a double up from one of them through you would put you way, way, way down at the bottom. Same can be said for being the chip leader as well. If you're the chip leader, but the other opponents at the table double through you and send you down more than just one spot in the pecking order, you really can't get away with too much bullying. Augie here
I know you got an ace.
is going
An ace don't
to
mean much to
fold
me.
the king jack
Go
after
ahead.
limping from the small blind.
I got 18 bigs.
Fearless. You gonna
Wouldn't
run the
necessarily
ball, I'm
advise for calling that off, but perhaps a little bit curious that he didn't decide to
know.
open raise that hand.
We've seen that already.
Nice hand there for Abraham, up to now 22 big blind stack. And it's very interesting here as we do have just one person with a massive chip lead. The rest of the players all within striking distance.
Abraham choosing the all-in sizing, pretty regular here. We've gotten a couple of data points here in spots where he's just decided to ship it for about 20 big blinds rather than try
That's why I don't like to drink water.
raise to a smaller size, give himself a little bit more maneuverability, just kind of put his opponent to the ultimate test and just make all the decisions pre-flop. We've seen Bruner tend to play a little bit more selectively using the smaller sizing, and then we've even seen some limping from Kevin and Augie, so a pretty solid mix of strategies coming into play here.
Obviously not one strategy better than the other, but it's always interesting when the different strategies do clash, right? Because then it's just it's so much more exciting when you watch different strategies clash rather than like 9 players all playing the same style clashing, because then it's just not as exciting. But
Well, I mean, it's not that I necessarily disagree with that, but there are certain play styles that will naturally lead to more aggressive actions versus more passive ones, right? And that's where you'll either see like one player just kind of run away with things because they're just applying an aggressive strategy, and whatever the other ones look like, if they're just more geared towards a passive play style, like the aggressive player is largely just going to run away with things. Unless, of course, the cards just really go against them, right? Or in the favor of the other opponents.
yeah, and obviously you and I were talking about this pre-stream. I would have been really interested to see how the play would have changed if the big bounties were in fact still in play for all the players. because we were talking about like, wow, there's like 2 guys with a like overwhelming chip lead, that ended up agreeing to chop the rest of the bounty money, right? When there was still a 10K, a 5K, multiple 2400s. So that really could have padded. I mean, someone could have walked away with over 100K today, right? If they, had the 20K, say like Kevin or Augie, they both already had the 20K bounty. Say they, for some reason, knocked out 6 players and they got the 10K, the 5K, and then took home second place or first place money. They could have had 100K scored today.
Yeah. Yeah, not only is that part odd, which I certainly agree with you, that the 2 biggest stacks there, Leon and Cavan, had a pretty good argument to be made for turning down the bounty chop. Not only that, but let's remember that 9th place went out for $6,250. There was a 10K, a 5K, and some 2400s. Those bounties alone were either larger than or very close to the size of 9th place payout. So had those bounties been in play, these players would have, at least from a theoretical standpoint, needed to adjust their strategy substantially, and I mean massively, in order to try to accumulate enough chips that they could get those bounties. Or even just put themselves at risk in a spot where it's like, well, I'm at risk to this guy, but I'm still covering that player that's all in. Because if I win the 10K and get bounced, it doesn't really matter because I've made such a massive pay jump equivalent by winning that bounty. But, we just, unfortunately, we weren't able to see that factor in to the players. And it's understandable as well that they would, appreciate having that pressure taken away and just lock up the easy money. So, it goes both ways for sure.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. Just from a TCH live point of view, I was just really excited when I was working the floor, and I was like, wow, there's still a 10K, there's still a 5K. I was really excited to see how that would play out on our final tables. But yeah, like I told you earlier, the moment they got to the final 9, they're like, y'all just want to chop the bounties? And then they all agree. I was like, oh, no.
Wow, let's check this out. Big spot here for Abraham. We've seen him rip it all in this spot or something like it before, but this is a little bit different. Augie raising from the small blind. And yeah, Abraham is going to release the 7s, and I think Augie's strategy has really geared more towards limping and calling, and so when he goes for a 3-bet, those 7's going to shrivel up a little bit.
And we really haven't seen Augie 3-bet that often on this final table, or even at all. So this looks very strong. And typically when he's played post-flop, when he bets, he typically has it, right? So that might be why Abraham's correlating that, right? It's like every time we've seen Augie bet on the river return, he just has it. So you would assume his plays pre-flop would be pretty similar. Oh no, it would have been top set there.
Oh, and Abraham is punished for folding the pocket 7s. Augie here puts out a massive bet, basically putting his opponent all in with just the 2 overcards, gut shot, and backdoor spades. Of course, the king-jack can do nothing to defend there, but Abraham left to lick his wounds as he could have had it all.
Yeah, I really can't fault Abraham for the fold there, just given how strong that pre-flop raise was from Augie.
Yeah, certainly calling wasn't a real option, so it's not really to think that like he could have just called and flopped the set and then somehow won a big pot after that. It's like it was jam or fold and understandable to just release. But yeah, similarly, just the other side of that coin, of course, is four-handed. A middling pair is going to be very, very strong, even when one of the tighter opponents at the table puts in 3-bet. But you know, you just got to move forward. You know, you can't really hold on to these hands and think about what could have been. You just got to play the next one and hope that you can string something together. Mitchell in the chat says you're the shortest stack, though, and that's certainly true. At the time, Abraham was the shortest stack, and you can certainly make the argument that the short stack is the one that is sort of forced to drive the action. But the flip side of that is that, well, two things, right? It's a 3-bet pot four-handed, which sort of indicates, given what we've seen here tonight, some significant strength in the holdings between the two opponents. he can just sort of step out of the way, and it's very possible that someone assumes a lower chip stack after the hand is complete, if not gets knocked out outright. So,
yeah, I mean, there was significant interest from the pot from Bruner and Augie, right? And he does know that Augie did cover Bruner, like you're saying. So, I mean, there's implications where, you know, if Bruner did get knocked down in that hand, say it was like a cooler spot, ace king against aces, so whatever, then, you know, then that's a ladder up there for Abraham.
and he also has like, he had like 17 big blinds or something, right? I mean, you know, four-handed, you're going to go through the blinds pretty quickly, and so 17 big blinds isn't going to last you forever. But you can go through a couple of orbits before you really start to get to a position where, like, you're jamming your sevens and you're just like, this is the best we're going to get. So I think it's just fine to have let it go, even though we see, you know, hindsight 2020 that he would have flopped a set.
So you bet a 500 and a call on the flop, and another same size bet on the turn, giving Bruner a good price here to try to hit his flush.
Yeah, bricks it out though, and now just queen high.
See if Bruner decides to turn his hand in a bluff. No, he will check and get checked back. Augie will take down another pot.
Oh, I was going to go for it too, but...
Bruner sort of lamenting that he didn't rip it all in there on the end. Not clear how Augie would have responded to that, but yeah, just the pair of nines, not particularly inspiring. But does send Bruner down to 4.5 million, just a shade over 11 big blinds, and the shortest stack here on the button.
Steak and a brisket.
Steak and a what?
And a brisket.
And a brisket. Are you sharing the brisket?
Yeah, I'm bringing it in.
All right, then. Make sure I'm paying.
All right.
400. I work Monday through Wednesdays.
Day shift.
Yeah, day shift, yeah. That's important, thank you. I don't usually work nights, so 600,000.
About an hour and a half now into our final table, down to our final four players. Augie and Kevin, the two 20K Bounty Mystery winners, battling out heads up right now. Augie will arrive on the river with the best hand.
And he's just going to show down the top pair here. A little bit too much going on out there.
Can't do nothing with you. I'm like, all I want to do is just call you.
You're on the hand.
Huh?
You're on the hand.
Yeah, the front door spades did come in there. But definitely a spot where we probably could have gone for some thin value.
There's brisket.
Yeah, I mean, four-handed top pair
said there's
doesn't
brisket
even,
on the
in my mind, quite constitute even thin value. Of course, you don't have a kicker, but yeah, targeting the inferior pair is always fair game. The flip side, of course, is that you know, your opponent is just going to have a lot of missed hands that are basically just folding anyways.
Are you dealing or?
But yeah, always just interesting how people approach these spots too. It's like, do you see the value in a top pair, no kicker type hand, you know, or are you just happy to take the showdown like every time? And,
Right.
you know, it's important for the other players at the table, of course, to be paying attention to that. Like, certainly, if you or I are at this table and not watching from the top-down view with the whole cards up, you know, we would be having to digest this information from hand to hand just from the little pieces that we were picking up, not necessarily just from seeing the whole cards and knowing that, oh, this player is generally just playing pretty straightforward. Like, we'd have to put that story together ourselves and then
with
develop
imperfect
a
information
strategy,
as well.
you know, to push back against that exactly.
I actually like it here.
Yeah, it's always interesting to watch these final tables, right? Because you can really tell which players adjust their ranges or like what they're going to be betting with, what they're going to be raising with
Another 3 days?
as we get fewer and fewer players.
Definitely would.
And sometimes we really don't even see the players adjust at all. We'll see some players make over adjustments, and we'll see some players not make any adjustments when we get shorter and shorter handed.
Limp
Bruner
from
seems like
Augie
the
on
one that will make adjustments, and it looks like, yeah, he will jam with the king-queen. Probably a spot a lot of times, even full ring, you could probably jam that hand. So definitely four-handed, that's a slam dunk.
Have you been anything to do?
Yeah, under 5 minutes left in this level as well. Going to go up to 250, 500K. Not the biggest jump in the world, but a couple of players in Abraham and Bruner that are already short. Going to make them even shorter.
You know the fortune teller guy?
Oh, yeah, the onus is definitely on picking up some chips if they can find them
One night we got
here
really
in the next
drunk,
few
and at the end
minutes.
of the night I looked at my receipt and I spent $100
Distance
on
themselves
the
from
fortune
one
teller.
another.
They were $5.
Certainly love to have something like 10 more big blinds than the shortest stack.
No, I don't
Just
remember.
give yourself a little bit of breathing room.
Just
So when the two shortest stacks are like very close to one another, even if you have slightly more
Wonder
chips,
what he
maybe
was
2,
telling
3,
you.
4 big blinds
It's
more
probably
than
the
the
same
short
one, I
stack,
don't know, but-
it really doesn't feel like you're safe, you know? It's like, I still need to push the X, I still have to
Who's
accumulate
Zoltan? Oh, he's
chips,
a business partner.
and probably just like go all in with, you know, a
from
certain
International
hand
Yeah,
class,
you understand.
even if it feels uncomfortable.
I can't remember if it was from the movie Big
Yeah,
or not.
man, these are stressful spots for these
Well, if
players.
he's on there, I'm gonna at least say once for you, just for you. Like, I gotta come see you from the front guy.
If we have any new viewers in the live stream chat right now, welcome to TCH Live. We're live from Dallas, Texas right now. Currently streaming the final table, down to our final 4 players of our 500K Mystery Bounty Tournament. A lot of these players have been playing all week, trying to get a seat into day 2, which was today. Day 2 started at noon. And now we're down to our final 4 here at 11 p.m.
He said that
It's yours.
one night.
Cabin gonna play the king queen suited as a limp from the small blind. Bets the flop when he doesn't hit, but neither does Augie, and so he'll just take that one down. There we go.
Ivan Perez
Abraham
asking, can y'all invite some dealers to join y'all? What do you mean by that?
I guess perhaps in the commentary booth, perhaps.
Oh, well, I'm a dealer. So.
Well, there you go. We got a dealer. We got a tournament director. We got my scrubby ass. We got a little bit of everything in the booth tonight.
I technically hold 3 positions here at the card room. So.
Floor tournament director and dealer, or what else are you?
I mean, the dual rate, so floor and dealer, and then commentating.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, commentator, of course. Gotcha. A Jack of all trades, or a Derek of all trades.
Derek of all trades, I'll take that.
Yeah, I just talk and play. That's all I do.
Rob CR84 from Twitch says, how much did it cost to get into this tournament? $800 for this tournament, sir.
Black 10s here for Cabin. First to act. Beautiful spot to come in for a raise, and he will for a chunky size. Let's go 4X. My goodness.
Oh, wow, this is a cooler spot here.
Yeah, my goodness. It is going to be a jam all in. Bruner sees the large size and is like, I don't really know. 7s are probably just too good. Maybe ace king, ace queen. Nope, it's pocket 10s, and Bruner is in a real tough spot. Going to need to find a 7, some kind of straight or flush.
Pair over pair four-handed. Pretty cooler spot here for Bruner. Let's see if he can find the 7. Oh, no, and the club's not working for him. Needs the 7 of hearts and 7 of hearts only. Might want to use this one time here. No, he does not use it, and he does not hit it.
Good game, man. It was fun.
All right.
GG's in the chat for Bruner, taking home 4th place money. A nice little score there of $28,000. Each player now guaranteed $39,000.
20 grand to 2.
Wow, and these pay jumps are now getting pretty significant as we get to our final 3 players.
Yeah, good game, Bruner. Really played well here at this final table. Just sort of a cooler spot there at the end, but congrats on the deep run, the big win, and condolences on not making it further. But yes, here we are, down to 3 players. Level up next hand. And we got Chris Charette here in the chat dropping super chats, $9.99s back to back. Please tell my girlfriend Ruth that I love her. She's mad at me, and it's our job to save him. Ruth,
Hey.
Chris loves you. He's tossing money at us, and you know what? Give him a chance, maybe.
Yeah, Ruth. This Chris guy seems pretty cool, at least in my opinion. I mean, for the brief amount of time that I've known him, you know, give him another chance. He loves you, but he loves you.
Best of luck there, Chris. Thank you very much for the super chat. We always do appreciate your guys' contributions to our rainy day funds. And Derek here.
Yeah, for those that don't know, the super chats do go to support the live stream crew here. All the commentators, and of course Tyler and Cooper doing the action tracking and producing.
All right, the level is up 500K now for the big blind, and that blind is going to be hitting very frequently. Abraham going to need to chip up and do it quickly before these blinds eat him alive. Ace 4 suited. Oh, I thought he was mucking. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is good enough to rip it in, and he does agree. Augie with the queen 10 off is going to get a count here, perhaps feeling like gambling a little bit. Sometimes players will have pet hands, something that just feels right, or just a gut feeling, you know? Seen that plenty of times. You see a player just sort of running hot and they just have that feeling like, you know what, I'm just going to win. Make the call, and sure enough, right they are. Daniel Lowry joining us in the chat. What's up, my man? How you doing? Says $2 for these two gentlemen. Don't forget, Scott is a clown.
Thank you so much, Daniel. That name sounds strangely familiar.
Yeah, forget about two-time ring winner. We got Daniel Lowry in the chat.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, he's yeah, because I think Law is a good friend of his, and yeah, and I've seen her post a few times on Facebook. Yeah, I think he's 11-time ring winner. Daniel Lowry in the chat.
Yeah, run out of fingers and start using toes for your rings. That's when you know you're a badass.
See, and that's a great point there from the live stream chat. ABC Favorite says, if there was a bounty on the line, Augie would snap call, right? And when there's only ICM implications right now, it's you kind of just want to fold these spots and wait for a better spot. But when there's the potential to possibly win a 10K or 5K bounty, you're just like, well, yeah, I'll call. As we were seeing that all day, right? Like we saw people calling off with just like random hands when the person that was all in was only going in for less than 10 big blinds. You saw the most obnoxious hands going all in.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense, because when the next payout, like let's zoom back out to, you know, the bubble has burst, we're all in the money, and the next payout is like, you know, $1,500 or whatever it was. Probably even less than that, right? Given the fact that the bounties pulled some money out of the prize pool. So let's say like
no, the min cash was 1,500.
Oh, it was. Okay. All right. So you buy in for 18, min cash is 15. Buy in for 800, min cash is 15, and there are 20K bounties in play. Like, yeah, you're gonna go pretty wide on your calls in comparison to what you would normally do, given that situation.
Ambo Fun in the chat says, what do you think of changing from a big blind ante to everyone at the table ante once you're at the final table? See, I guess. So I've seen rooms like change the structure a little bit, where they take out, they like half the big blind ante once it gets like four-handed to kind of account for that. I know like wins like the room do that, or rooms like the win, not wins like the room. Yeah, no. Rooms like the win. I've seen do that, where like when they get down to like 4 or 5-handed. Say if it's like 20,000, 40,000 blind level, they'll have the big blind ante to kind of account for like, oh, when we originally would do ante from every player, you have less ante money in the middle. What do I think about them changing to that? I think still big blind ante is fine, but I do see a point for that. What do you
Yeah,
think?
no, I think it's definitely fair play to reduce the size of the ante if you want to. Distributing the ante over multiple players, I think, is counterproductive. I mean, we've already made the jump from everybody anteing to a single player making the ante so much easier for the dealer, keeps the game flow going. To revert back to that, I think would be obnoxious. The other side of this coin that we have to remember is that as the number of players dwindles, like the number of chips in play stays the same. So you like, especially at this point, you go from 4 players down to 3. Like the chip average goes way, way, way up when that happens, and so usually it's not a problem for the action to be sort of driven. It's not. Well, I mean, I guess reducing the small blind isn't really. I don't know. What I'm trying to say is that the number of blinds in play per player, the average chip stack in terms of blinds, is generally quite high. So by reducing the ante, it can actually just make the game sort of drag out even longer. So,
Right.
anyways, I'll stop talking.
No, that's a fair point. No, and I mean, and I guess just to leave it simple, as a player and the dealer, I'm just always going to prefer big blind ante. I didn't play too often when we still had antes in play around the country. I probably played like 10 or 15 tournaments when it was still ante from every player, and my goodness, was that annoying and frustrating. Because like I'm a person that always is like ready to go, so like I always had my ante ready to go, and I just see like 3 players just like on their phone or like looking at something, turning around talking to someone else, and they was like ante please, and they're not dealing out a hand until they get all the antes into the middle, and it was really frustrating as a player. And then now, as a dealer, I can only imagine how frustrating that'd be, because people don't even put out their big blind. So
Yeah.
to get 9 players to put out their ante, no, thank you. So as a dealer and a player, I definitely prefer the big blind ante.
Yeah, and then next level frustration is when someone would put out an ante, someone next to them wouldn't, and then there's be an argument over who put out the ante.
Oh my
And it's
gosh,
like
yeah, no, I remember
50
that.
Chips,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, just somebody put your damn 50 chips in there. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, say there's like a less experienced dealer. I definitely remember a few times it happening where they would pull all of the antes in, and then someone would like point out, oh, you only have 8 chips in there.
Wow,
And
we've got an all-in and a call. Augie
Oh,
here
wow.
raising big from the button, makes it $2 million. Abraham goes all in with the 7s, not going to fold them this time. Augie calls it off with the queen 5, and here we go. Can Abraham survive, or will he be eliminated in 3rd place?
Oh my gosh, and a queen on the flop. We could be heads up after this.
Abraham needs help. 10 for a chop, 7 for a double up. It's a deuce of clubs, no good. Augie gonna take this down. and send
GG's in the
Abraham
chat
to the
for
rail.
Abraham.
Just us 2 now, man.
And now we are heads up. Abraham taking home a nice prize of $39,000. Both of these players guaranteed $53,000. We are heads up for the title here, playing for a top prize of $72,050. And we did get a $2 super chat from Daniel Lowry. It says, please see comment about Travis and wedding in chats. Daniel Lowry
He
says, how
wants
much
us
do I
to
need the
remind-
super chat to get to remind Travis not to forget his wallet at his wedding in Austin next month, gentlemen?
Good job.
Is this the Travis we both know?
What's your
Or
name?
Austin.
Travis the
Buddy,
dealer?
call me Augie.
Okay, I'll get
Thank you so much for the super
Nice
chat.
to meet you, buddy. You're
Daniel?
a very good player, man.
You too, man.
And what a story we have here tonight. The 2 players that drew the 20K mystery bounties are now heads up for $70,000. So one of these 2 players could be walking away with over $100,000 in cash out prizes tonight.
What? Like that?
I told you I'm free rolling now.
What?
I don't care anymore.
Augie all in with the aces, just ships his entire nearly 19 million chip stack in.
Oh, okay.
Starts talking at Cavan and then shows him the aces. Well, that's one
I'll
way to
take
do
first,
it.
You take
All
second.
right.
How about that?
Huh?
I take first, you take second.
Some fun little back and forth, little banter between these players.
Put 5,000 on top of it for me and I'm gone.
Mark Toulouse saying, big blind ante should be moved permanently to the
Even though
button
we're
ante.
close.
Would push the action more. By the way,
I end up
Lowry
with-
finished the main in Tulsa at something like 15th place. Well, congratulations to him.
I end up with
JPD in the chat, how many people entered TCH?
got
If you're asking about
last
this tournament, we had about 1,160 entries for this tournament.
Let's play. All right.
down to our final 2 players here. And for those of y'all, again, I just have to reiterate this, how crazy it is that we have our 2 20K Mystery Bounty winners
You know I got
playing
one
heads up
too.
now.
I know, yeah.
These 2 players were destined to, take home a lot of money tonight.
D'accord.
Raise to me.
Tu veux mettre?
Interesting comment here. Mark Toulouse says big blind ante should be moved to the
500.
button ante, and says would push the action more. I don't know that it can, right? I mean, the pot is still the same. You've just distributed the initial investment over 3 players instead of 2, but the pot that you're fighting over is still the same. And if you're sort of approaching it from the standpoint that like, oh, I put that ante in there versus my neighbor, and then therefore going to fight for the pot harder, well,
Can I move there?
that's not the game theory approach,
Okay.
but if that's your approach, then perhaps it would drive the action a little bit harder.
You have a 2-to-1 chip lead in favor of Kevin right now, but as we've seen in any heads-up battle, it's anyone's game. Let's see who y'all are rooting for in the live stream chat. We have Augie in seat 1 or Kevin in seat 9. Let us know in the live stream chat right now who do you want for this
Change more often than that.
tournament.
If you want to just change positions, Tyler said no.
Okay, we're good. There's no way. Stay
Oh,
where we are.
because of the yes, because of how everything's into the system.
Okay, don't worry.
Yes.
I'll put the-
Yeah,
I'll put this
our
like this,
normal events,
Yeah, and
absolutely,
before
yeah.
anyone starts asking in the live stream chat, the reason why these players cannot move is because we have these stacks,
I'll put it like
their
this.
name, all the information locked to that specific seat
There's nothing behind it.
or that specific scanner.
Big blind, you give me my small blind.
I know it looks a little awkward right now, but it's just how our live stream has to work. And it just takes too much time from the live stream to, pause and then have to redo everything. Daniel Lowry in the chat says, with another $2 super chat, says, no, just my buddy Trav, who always forgets his wallet. Thank you. All right, well, Travis, if you're listening to this right now, make sure you do not leave your wallet in Austin for your wedding. Thank you again to Daniel for the little super chat.
We all have that friend,
Oh yeah, I was
that's
the big
prone
blind just now.
to losing wallets and or other personal items.
Right. We work all
Good
day
people
together.
usually. All right, here we go. Heads up continues. 17 minutes left in this level, still at 250, 500, 500. Augie here with an ace on the button.
Raise.
Gonna raise this up. Big chunky raise at that. Cabin makes the call, 9-8 offsuit. Gonna play this one out of position.
One overcard and a gut shot for Augie. Currently the best hand right now. And there it is. Check mark on the turn for Augie. And now he's to start thinking about building up a pot here with the straight. Fortunately for him, Kevin has nothing to call with.
You read me too much.
Good job, good job.
Man, Augie just has shown his hand like every other pot he's won, maybe more frequently than that.
Oh yeah, he was doing that all
always
day.
has it.
He's been doing that all day.
It's nice when you just have to value bet every hand that you play. You're just like, oh yeah, all right, what size do we go for here? Because we're trying to get called. Hand after hand after hand. Feels good.
Yeah, of course, me, Eugene, and Donovan, the 2 tournament floors helping today. All of us do enjoy, all 3 of us enjoy playing tournaments. So we were all talking like, man, what we would give just to have a stack like that. Or like we were like pointing at people's stacks, like, man, just have such a spot. A little bit of FOMO, but wow, and Augie here just hitting everything, turning the 6-high straight with the 6 deuce.
Yeah, Augie gonna go for the slow play this time around though, and is gonna be rewarded. Cabin here gonna go for the bluff. Front door hearts does come in, but Augie not worried about it. He's got the straight and the best hand. he'll make the call. And these stacks now virtually identical.
Yeah, and just
Augie
like that,
shipping up.
Augie here, only 2 million away from getting to Cavin's stack here. Kevin losing his 2-1 chip lead very quickly there.
Lucky I'm tired. You're lucky I'm tired. I'm like,
Master Ted is absolutely right. Please do hit that like button, and if we have any new viewers in the live stream chat, I highly recommend you hit that subscribe button as well. If you hit that bell, you'll get notified anytime our live stream goes live and anytime we release new content from our YouTube channel.
Augie gonna limp the button here. Kevin checks his option. It's a battle of.
Oh no, I think she did that hand wrong. I think she put the. Okay. Yeah, there was a little bit of a mistake there. I think she had Augie post the big blind on the button. Hope they fix that. They fix the next hand? Okay. I'm getting word from Cooper that they do fix that next hand. I'm sure Tyler or Cooper lets Tika know in the mic. That is why we do have a microphone on our dealer in case something like that happens.
I thought I was big blind last night. Okay, mistake. Yeah.
Chris Charette in the chat dropping us another super chat. Says it worked. Ruth is now back into his good graces.
Apparently, we have to ask Ruth now if she'll make him a drink, though. And you know, I don't. That's between you and Ruth, there, Chris. I don't really want to butt into the relationship like that.
Augie crams all of his chips into the middle with her red 8s. Just takes this one down.
Just a standard 40 big blind shove.
Yeah, even 50 at that.
Oh yeah, about 50, yeah.
I mean, you do end up seeing stuff like that, of course. You know, when you get to heads up, it's like people just like stop playing the sort of middling strength hands, a lot of those middling pairs and stuff, as like, let's min raise it and then play 3 streets. Like, no, let's just rip it in. Like, my hand's probably good, and then if you just happen to have like ace queen suited, you're just gonna call, and we just find out who wins this tournament. Like, it's definitely pretty standard to see that kind of stuff happen.
Right.
At heads up. But yeah, didn't get the call he was looking for that time. We are going to go heads up to the flop here between King 8 and 10-6.
Mr. Adam in the chat, one of our dealers here at TCH Dallas, says no chop with 3 exclamation points. I know a lot of our viewers like that. Means a longer stream. King High going to be the best hand. Can overbet the pot here. 2 million into 1.5. Take it down.
A little bit curious there.
Definitely a clear spot where you could just definitely check back with King High, which is probably good a lot of the time based on the action.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, without, you know, going into it too deep, it's like we always want to have a plan. And if the plan was to get a full house to fold there, because like you have the best hand that is just like the trip aces on board and like no pair, right, with the king. If the plan is to get a full house to fold, like I just don't know if that's a plan that's going to work. But he wins nonetheless, and we move right along. Augie here with the chip lead now. 5-4 off. It's King 10 off. What do you know? Top pair for Augie, bottom pair for Cavan. Little something.
I'm all in.
And Cavan actually bets this for 2 million. And Augie just snap jams it in. And I mean, this feels really uncomfortable if you're Cavan, of course. Like, you just hate having your opponent seemingly running you over with these big bets. But at the same time, he's always shown you the goods. You just know he has it. It's just obnoxious, but like, you just kind of have to let it go. Cavan here, a little bit frustrated, but he is going to let that go. And Augie shows him the 10 and now has his own substantial chip lead here. And yeah, not that long ago, probably just less than 10 hands, maybe 10 hands ago, Augie there was offering to take second place money plus a little bit of juice. Cabin turned him down. Now here we go, the turns have tabled. And we'll continue playing. Augie here on the button now. 6-4 suited. Gonna make the call. Cabin checks with 10-6 off.
Flush draw here for Augie.
And it overbets the pot. Why not? This man can do no wrong. Extends his chip lead.
For those of y'all tuning in right now, we are now heads up.
Bart here says, that's not the real Dan Lowry in chat. That's hilarious. Oh,
what the heck?
That's
we have a Daniel Lowry impersonator in the chat.
I mean, I'll give him the credit for being also a Dan Lowry, but perhaps just.
Well, I mean, I'll give him credit for being the Dan Lowry because he donated to us, you know. So.
That's pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
Pop in the chat using that name. I mean, because obviously Daniel's such a well-known player.
These players battling back and forth here. Gavin going to bet out with his 10 high. Augie with second pair. 4 of diamonds. Does bring in the flush draw for Gavin with his 2 high flush draw. And it is Augie's night tonight. Gonna river trip queens.
You played too scared, man.
Wow.
Augie says you're playing too scared, and Kevin's like, dude, you just always have it, man.
Huh?
Nice hand.
Thank you.
Nearly 2-to-1 chip advantage here for Augie. And Kevin has gone quiet. Was laughing, joking a little bit. But yeah, when you run into the buzzsaw of Augie making trips, straights, flushes, hand after hand after hand, it'll take the wind out of your sails, that is for sure.
Call.
Another top pair here for Augie. Kevin has a pair, but now it's a butt flush for Augie.
Did you say a butt flush?
Yeah, butt flush. The lowest possible flush, but still a flush. Yeah, Augie here is going to win with this little butt flush. He's going to check it back, concerned that Kevin could have a better spade.
Nuts for Augie. And Dakota Chess says, if you show your hands, other players know how you play. You know, I've been flooring all day, been watching Augie play all day. He's been doing it all day, but he's been just killing it, so. Sometimes you're just destined to win a tournament, and no matter what information your opponents have on you, doesn't matter. you win the flips, you cooler someone, you flop sets.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's fair to say that like showing hands, whatever, can certainly give away a fair bit of information about how you play. And in the pots where like you really kind of have to make a big decision, right? Like in all the pots where like you just don't have anything, it's just an easy fold. But like when you have a really big spot and your opponent has just been showing you the goods over and over and over and over again, like, you know, that can be useful information. That is definitely true.
Oh, just 200. You want 250, right? Sure. Gotcha.
We've got a new Dan Lowry impersonator in the chat. Because I'm the real Dan Lowry. Well, you don't have an E in there, so that's the first part that you're missing. But
Oh, so that's not the real.
love it. Oh man, now we need a Daniel Lowry spelled multiple different ways. You know, we need it all.
Good job.
I get $5 over.
What is going on right now? There's a land dowry.
Oh, you get first place?
Huh?
Land dowry.
Yeah, that's why I said $5 over.
Okay, here we go. We've got a discussion, and it looks like perhaps a deal
So we
being made
split
here.
this.
Table 20?
We will split this, same amount, but I get $5 over.
$5?
Yeah.
Oh,
Floor table 20?
All
So we
right,
both get 60,000.
here we go. Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin is getting offered
60,000. See, I'm
to
nicer than
take
you
second
are. You
place,
got
and it's really only $5 less
I'm tired.
than his
I wanna go home
opponent.
and sleep.
He is substantially out-chipped here.
says he wants to chop, but he wants $5 over on top.
So he wants to be
I
credited
just wanna
with
make
the
sure I'm
win.
winner.
He wants
An
I
extra
want $5 more than him.
But you want first place.
But he just wants $5 extra. $1, 2, 3, 4, $5
$5 extra dollars.
on top of his pay.
And you want the first place.
No.
I'll take first place.
What?
No.
What is going on?
I want.
What kind of
I want-
negotiation is this?
Yeah, I
For
know,
shopping,
okay.
But you want
but I want $5 more than him.
So then he'll be
That's
getting
his only
first place.
request.
That's my only request.
You both agree to that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes?
What a nice guy. I mean, what has like a 2-to-1 chip lead right now, and it's just offering an even chop.
That was extraordinary.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a
Incredible.
$19,000 heads-up match. $19,000 difference between first and second place.
Wow. And that's the
And-
tournament.
And Augie just offers to give up all of the additional chip equity that he has with how good he's running to just take first place and an extra $5. And there
Wow,
you have
I mean,
it. They're
yeah,
going to
he's-
chop that up.
Yeah, he said he was pretty tired, and so I have the numbers right here. Each player taking home $62,525 each. I imagine one person has $630 or $530, $5 difference, whatever. But congratulations to these two players. Kevin and Augie are two 20K Mystery Bounty winners and taking home first place and second place money. Incredible.
Yeah.
It was in the stars for them this whole day. They drew the 20K bounties. They got heads up, or they made the final table. They got heads up, and now they're just chopping first and second. What a great tournament. Thank you so much for commentating with me tonight, Aaron. Had a really fun time.
Absolutely. This was a fantastic experience. Thank you guys all for tuning in, hanging out with us. Big congratulations, round of applause here for these two gentlemen taking home over $62,000 apiece, if I do my math correctly. Absolutely amazing showing here for both of these guys. Also, big shout out to the rest of the players making it to the final table and to everyone else that chipped in to take part in this tournament over the course of the last week. We look forward to the next one, absolutely, for sure.
All right, let's do some last minute shout outs here in the chat. Jedi Master Ted, Poof, Mr. Adam, Crazy Flops, Dan Lowry, Albert K, Kicker Problems, Doug R, Killer Demo. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone stopping by for the past 2 hours for our final table live stream. We'll be having cash game live streams on Monday from Austin. Tuesday and Wednesday will be live from Dallas. We'll have a special live stream on Wednesday. It's going to be a PLL live stream, which will be really fun. And Thursday, we're back in Austin. And, of course, we'll have our regularly scheduled Saturday final table next Saturday. So hope you all are tuning in for that. Appreciate everyone tuning in. And thank you to all the players, of course. And y'all have a great rest of your weekend. Thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. Good night, everybody.